Okay, welcome everybody to tonight's Redox Talk. My name is Sally Dymond. I'm a double diamond with ASEA and have been using the products for about 4 years now. I don't know where the time's gone, but anyway, 4 years has passed very, very fast and life has changed dramatically for us as a family and for me personally. So tonight we have a special guest, Angela, who's going to be sharing her story with us. But before we start, I'll just tell you briefly about myself. So I was a therapist for 28 years, dealing in acupuncture, massage, all the sports remedial stuff, I guess. Worked on the tennis circuit, worked on cruise ships, and had a pretty extravagant career. But just recently I've taken a little break, and thanks to ASEA now I earn a great income from ASEA, and I get the same joy out of helping people with ASEA as I do in my practice. So I've chosen to spend time with my children and with all of you, and to share the molecules globally. And I get to enjoy traveling now all over the world, meeting lots of new faces and new people and hearing their amazing stories. So when you hear stories like you do with ASEA and Redox, it's hard not to share it, because we have a life-changing product here that can really change many people's health, but really in the home for if you are healthy as well. So it keeps you in good health, and that's why I really love ASEA, because there's not a single person or an animal or a plant that cannot not benefit from it. So before we get started, I'd like you to think about a few things, and that might be, do you have a health challenge, or do you know someone that's got a health challenge? Because out there today, I mean, I went for a swim today at the beach, and just sitting there, you know, ready to get into the water, I heard two conversations walk past me, and one was talking about how bad their urinary tract infection was, and the other one was talking about how sick their mother was. And that was literally in two people just walking past me when I was sitting at the beach. So, you know, all people are doing today is talking about how sick everyone is feeling, or how sick someone they know close to them really is. So when you start to discover what Redox can do, we can help a lot of these people, whether it's them going through surgery or it's them dealing with something before it gets to the point where medical intervention really needs to come in. The other thing you might be asking yourself is time and money. Are you trading your time for money? And do you really want to have more time to do the things that you love, but you still need money coming in? So for me, I never really believed it was possible that there was an opportunity to make money while you're out in a canoe with a kid or with your kids, and that dream has now become a reality for me. So, you know, if you're into doing a little bit of work, and it really takes a good 3 to 4 years of hard work to get to that point, but I know for 28 years I worked in my practice every day, diligently, working, standing and treating clients, and it never gave me freedom. It never gave me the freedom to actually step away from it, because as soon as I stepped away from it, the money actually stopped. So when you think about life in whatever career and job that you're doing right now, most of us are trading our time for money. And when we stop trading our time, the money stops. So we have an opportunity here tonight that you can be sharing and helping people that you care about, and it's residual. So it creates an income for you as well. The second thing, it might be you're looking for more athletic improvement or performance. You might be out running marathons or swimming or doing triathlons or pushing your body as a fly-in fly-out worker, or just a single mum that's on that treadmill and you've got no energy and you really just need that boost in life. And so that's what some of these products can do, is maybe just give you a lift and give you that energy that you need in life to just keep going. I know for me, I was pretty burnt out as a therapist when I was on that treadmill, and that was the first thing it really did for me, is it gave me energy and it gave me that oomph to really just keep going. And if you just keep going and you keep sharing it, it gives you that next oomph in what might come next for your life. So we spoke about time, and we spoke about money, and we spoke about freedom, but the thing that really attracts me to ASEA is the health benefits that you get when you start to use it, and when people start to use it consistently and over a period of time. So what we're talking about is not a quick fix. It might be if you've got a wound or a cut and you've got something as a first aid tool, but if you're dealing with chronic conditions or something that's, been ongoing, it's something you need to do consistently over a period of time. It's not something that's a quick fix, but as your body starts to heal and repair, life just becomes magnificent, and you actually forget about how sick you were when you first started this journey. So to live a really well life, we need two basic things. a body that can do whatever you ask it to do, and of course the money, because sometimes when we get really, really sick, it costs a lot of money to get well. I once heard the quote, you spend your whole life creating wealth, and then at the end of your life, you spend all your wealth trying to get some health back. So in our family and my life, I choose to spend money on health, not so much on the fancy things in life, but really keeping the body and the machinery that we're being given in our body alive and well and thriving. And sometimes in today's world, that's a little difficult in the toxic environment that we live in. We're exposed to stress and all sorts of things when we step outside. So it's having the tools and the implements that we use, that we put in and on our body to make sure that our body is actually functioning at its optimum level. When you step in a supermarket or the chemist, and most of those products there are full of chemicals and toxins and, you know, are really not that great for us. So what we have here tonight is something unique and very, very different and very special. And it's been regarded as one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs of all time. And I'm excited to share redox and, of course, Angela's story as well. So sometimes no matter what we do, and as we age, our cells become deficient in these redox molecules. And when our cells are becoming deficient in these redox molecules, we're starting to age, we're starting to slow down, and we're starting to get sick. So what the company has done is stabilize these redox molecules outside the body so we can now replenish them. And just in a nutshell, the job of a redox molecule is to signal and detect and repair and replace. And so when you think about when something happens to your body, we're thrown a sign and a symptom. That's our detection mechanism. That's telling us that we have a problem. Most of us are pretty good at that detection, because if you ask someone how they are, you want to have a good half an hour to sit down, because most people will tell you how they are. And it will start from how crap they feel to how they can't sleep to how depressed they are. And the list can go on and on and on for some people. And what's actually happening is that their cells are not functioning at their optimum level, and it's affecting their tissues, their systems, their entire body. And when you break all of that down, or any condition, it all comes back to a cell, and a dysfunctioning cell, and a cell that's deficient in redox. So several years ago, scientists made a brilliant discovery in discovering this redox molecular structure. The problem was they had a really hard time stabilizing it outside the body, because the mechanism of this redox function is fast and fleeting, and its job is to send messages inside from cell to cell around the body. So once they discovered this, of course, the scientists set about trying to stabilize it. They were able to stabilize it, and that's a really important word when we talk about redox, because it was keeping it in that stable structure that no one was able to do. It was only a seer that was able to stabilize those molecules and put it into our two products today that we have, which is the liquid that we drink and the topical gel that we use on our body. On all sorts of different applications. So for me, it started on my face. It was red, irritated, and pretty rough and bumpy. My husband, it was on his toes. They were pretty gross and you wouldn't want to touch them. For my kids, it was for growing pains. They would have all sorts of bumps, bruises, and scratches. So now it's the only thing that we do use on our body. So some of the things that you might be doing to improve your health would be eating a proper diet. It might be watching what you put on your skin. It might be limiting the alcohol that you're consuming. But when you start to replenish your cells with redox, that's when the real magic happens. When you add that to a nutritional program, when you add it to a treatment program, when you add it to severe treatment, if you're in the medical system and you're dealing with abnormal rogue cells, and you add redox in, it supports your body, and it supports your immune system, your digestive system, your hormone system, cardiovascular system, and the inflammatory response. So most conditions out there today actually stem from one of those systems in the body, and most people it's two or three. So if we have something that can help stabilize and regulate all of that, then why wouldn't you be taking it? It's giving your body that lift and that boost so that your body can function properly when stress and diet and everything kind of goes pear-shaped, like the school holidays. Today I was out on the kayak and we were eating donuts and hot chocolates and doing all those fun things you do with kids. And, you know, just make sure you drink your redox as well. But anyway, I could go on and on and on, but tonight it's about Angela and her story. So I'm going to unmute Angela here. Whoops. Are you doing it at the same time I'm doing it? Okay, there we go. So we're gonna spend a little bit of time tonight talking to Angela, and Angela and I met. Well, she can tell you how we met. And anyway, so let's just start. Maybe, Angela, you can introduce yourself, tell us how we met and your first experience of when you first discovered ASEA and what you thought.
Hi, Sally. Hi, everybody. Well, I met Sally last year in Kununurra in the Kimberley. She came over to do a presentation, and we only saw half of it because we had to go. But when we went to the markets the next day, Sally was there with Lynn Brown and a couple of other people, and you know, Lynn's story was just so amazing. And anyway, I had rolled my ankle, and I had it bandaged, and I was limping quite badly. And my friend had said to Sally, "Well, can you fix her ankle?" You know, just sort of, you know, asking the question. And she said, "Sit down." She did some scanner on it. She rubbed some Renew into it, and then, you know, the magic happened. I wriggled it, I rolled it round, I got up, I looked at my friend, she looked at me. We said a couple of profanities because we didn't believe it. And yeah, and it was like we took a sample tube that Sally gave us. We started to rub it on. Both of us had experienced the best night's sleep for such a long time, and we were sort of on board since then. And I signed up straight away and got my first auto ship about 2 weeks later, and been on it diligently ever since.
And Angela actually lives in Darwin. So she was just visiting in Kununurra at that time. And so now we have, you know, a nice little group going in Darwin, which is great. And I hope to get to Darwin soon. All right, so Angela, what happened then when you got home?
Well, it was all going well. My ankle had all but healed, and this is going to sound really silly, but I was making the bed in October, and I did something to my knee, and it blew up straight away. And I knew what it was because I'd had an arthroscope on my right knee back in my softball playing days, and so I knew what was wrong with it. I iced it, I elevated, did all that sort of stuff, rubbed lots and lots of Renew in it, and then decided begrudgingly I should probably go to the doctor and get it looked at. He said, "We'll do an MRI, see what it is." The MRI came back with 2 meniscal tears in the knee. He said I could go on the list and have surgery, or I could take the wait and see approach. And I jumped at the wait and see approach because I wanted to give the Renew and the SEA time to see what they could do. So I was my own little experiment. So I did that. I was rubbing Renew on it probably 6-7 times a day. I upped my ASEA to 120 mils 4 times a day. And I also supplemented that with physio, and I had dry needling as well. And he strapped it. I sent Sally a pretty fierce looking photo of my knee that looked like I'd had a reconstruction, but it was just a little meniscal tear. It doesn't look very pretty. Anyway, and I also had lots of massage with the wonderful Amanda Miller here. That's how I got to know her, and she uses it as well. But anyway, so within about 6 weeks, I was back walking again, 8 kilometres a day, no problems. And by the time Christmas rolled around, although I was very cautious on it, because you have that memory of the pain, it was all but healed. And yeah, and I haven't looked back since, which is great. I do, you know, I have quite a sedentary lifestyle at the moment apart from my walking, so I do try and do a bit of massage and stuff, but it's, yeah, it was really good. And I know that ASEA and Renew were a big part of it healing so well.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, so it's ongoing, it's wonderful.
Yeah, so as a therapist, when you can add these things into treatment, it just escalates that healing time. And the person that's dealing with that problem gets better much faster, but during that healing phase, they have less discomfort and they have more range, and it just complements what we're trying to do in the clinic, and they can be doing something outside at home, you know, every single day. I'm getting some feedback from someone. Who is that? Oh, that stopped. Yeah, so that they really have a tool that they can use to support themselves at home. So yeah, that's one for me. I can see Marion nodding there. She's a physio. And, you know, when people actually take responsibility for their health outside of us as therapists trying to heal someone, it means that they're actually engaged in it. They have a tool that if they trip or they fall or something happens after a treatment, they can actually actively do something and not feel like they have to wait for a week, to get back before you can wave a wand or get your hands on it or, do some treatment. So that's one thing I really, really loved, is being able to support my clients with tools that they can have at home. And then you teach them how to use all these things outside other than for their injury. And, it becomes something in the home then that they can use for first aid for, bumps and scratches. And if their neck goes out or something just happens and they're away and they can't get in for treatment anywhere, they've got something that is going to help their body to really, really heal.
The other thing that was really noticeable is I had no pain relief. I took no painkillers whatsoever. The whole time. If it was I got a bit of a twinge, or I, got a bit confident and did something and it hurt a little bit, I would just put more Renew on it. I didn't need any painkillers whatsoever, and I hate taking drugs, so that was really good.
Yeah, I often hear that people that come out of some pretty significant surgeries, if they're using enough of the product, and that's the really big key here, is that you can look at a tube of Renew here and go, well, that costs, $55 or whatever the price is wholesale in your country. You can go, well, that's a lot of money, except a treatment with any one of us therapists costs upwards of $100 for an hour. If you were rubbing 2 tubes of this a week into your problem, I can guarantee your, pain relief in that alone is as or more effective than 1 hour with any one of us. And so when people often say to me, oh, but it's too expensive, and they've barely used any, what's expensive is coming and seeing me every week, when you actually have a tool right there that if you use enough of it often enough, you're going to get an amazing healing that happens. But the secret happens when you get the tube on your body and enough of the redox in your cells to actually do the job. So it's not using it sparingly, it's using it enough and a lot in that acute phase. So if you've had an accident or you've had an injury or you've had surgery, using tubefuls in days is what you really need to get that instant, fast healing that you'll be reading about online. And when you're reading all these testimonials and you actually know the dosages that some people are using, that's where the magic happens. It's not taking 60 mils in the morning and expecting a miracle to occur. If you're really depleted and had a problem for a really long time, you need to actually supplement with the right amount. And in those acute phases, it's a lot, but it's actually really cheap in comparison to treatment after drug after, weeks of not working, when you can just hit it hard in that instance. Like for Angela's case, how many weeks or days were you taking that high dose, Angela?
I probably took the high dose, I think probably for the first 3 weeks. And then I went back to my 120 mils twice a day.
Yeah.
But I kept up the Renew, like when I backed off a bit, that was probably still 4 times a day. I actually kept a tube in the bathroom. So every time I went to the ladies' room, I whipped out the tube of Renew and rubbed it on my knees, because sometimes, you've got
you're just hitting
trousers on.
So I often tell people, if they need a good 4 or 5 doses, make sure they do it when they go to the toilet. That's kind of your trigger to remember, because going to the toilet, you can get to your abdomen, you can get to, hard to get to places, and you should be going to the toilet at least 5 times a day in your waking hours. So that's a good 5 doses a day that you're getting right there. So keeping a tube in the bathroom and a tube in your handbag, you've always got it when you go to the toilet, hopefully.
Especially for you people down south that have to wear long pants at this time of the year. We don't suffer from that much.
No, not in Darwin.
No.
So I don't know what else we can say about that. Have you got any other stories you might want to share with us in just what you've been doing day to day with your family?
Well, actually, my husband is the guinea pig for all my health, get fit, get healthy things, because he won't cook for himself, so he has to do what I do. And he follows blindly like a good boy, like all husbands should. And he had a knot of varicose veins on his left calf muscle. And he came home from the doctor. This was probably, July last year, so around the same time as we'd started on the redox. And he said, they reckon I've got to have surgery and get them removed. And I said, oh, really? let's put some of this on and see what it does. So, you know, I was madly rubbing Renew in it every chance I got, every time he sat down or, you know, was getting ready for work or after his shower. And then we forgot about it, and he started to do it himself. And I would just say, have you rubbed the Renew on your varicose veins? Oh, yeah, done that, done that. He was also taking the Redox, 120 in the morning and 120 at night. And I hadn't thought about it. And then in about March, I said to him, which leg are your veins on? And he said, oh, my left leg. I said, oh, anyway, and I had a look. They were no longer hot. They were no longer lumpy. His leg was smooth, and they weren't causing him any discomfort at all.
Wow. Did you take any photos?
I did take a photo, but my phone is terrible. It didn't take a very good picture. I should get my SLR out and take proper pictures. But
yeah, you should.
Yeah, and he sort of blows it off a bit. And I said, yeah, but I can notice, and the fact that it's not hot, you know, and that's a big thing with where you have injuries, you can actually feel the heat.
Oh, yeah.
I could feel it with my knee. I could feel it in his calf muscle, and it was gone. And he's doing a lot of walking now. He's walking every other day. No issues at all.
Wow, that's awesome. You've inspired me. I need to do mine religiously.
Yeah. Also, my daughter has very bad varicose veins, and I've got her onto it post-pregnancy. She has one that if she does too much exercise, it's almost as thick as your finger, you know. And, yeah, she says it gives her huge relief and is improving. So, look, awesome. I could go on and on and on. So many, so many great things, you know. I just use it for everything. My mum said, oh, I've cut myself. I said, put some Renew on it. And she said, oh, I forgot you were on the phone. So my whole family, my mum and dad, my mum's osteoarthritis is amazing now. You know, the big difference I think too is the realisation for my mum and dad were I had them up here last year, and I was dosing them with ASEA, and my dad was saying had more energy, more motivation, they're putting it in their eyes, you know, I'm rubbing it all over them because they're 84. And my dad was feeling really good, my mum was feeling really good, and then they went home, and about Christmas time they said, don't think it's doing much. We'll keep up with the gel because the gel is amazing for mum's arthritis, and but I don't think we'll take the ASEA. Anyway, so now their personal circumstances have changed. They're going back on the ASEA. They've been back on it for 3 weeks. My dad says, oh, I don't feel like I felt before. I said, yeah, because 12 months ago, you weren't overweight and you're at a different point. Hell, he was going to the gym 3 days a week and he hasn't done anything for 12 months. So he's coming from a different place health-wise. So it's taking longer.
Yeah.
You know? So it's taking longer for it all to happen because his body's not as in good a shape as what it was last year.
And how much is he taking now? Is he taking the same amount?
Well, he did actually ring me and tell me he was taking half a bottle. And I said, well, you probably should just wait for a little while. And, because they bought 14 cases. You know, they did the whole big order thing. And so he's wolfing it down. And I said, yeah, you know, just give it a little while and we'll do, because they did the health and the tracker.
Yeah.
When you get here in 2 weeks, we'll do it again. And you'll be very surprised of the changes, I think.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So Janice, sorry.
You're right. No, I'm finished.
Oh, Janice says, I've seen these superficial veins that have become enlarged and twisted, reduce and straighten within hours of applying Redox gel 3 times in 5 minutes. So There we go. That's the challenge for all of us, because I'm pretty sure all of us therapists have some nice looking marks on our legs from standing for, you know, decades. I know I do, leaning against a table, and nurses that stand all day and night, you know, working on hard floors. You know, if that's all you're going to use the gel for to start with, then just try it, because I know when you're consistent with it, it does. And I am going to go back and start doing mine now that I'm not standing on my feet for hours and hours every day. I think it would make a big difference. So I think that pretty much wraps up our little conversation. Thank you, Angela, for sharing your story. And sometimes it's not about the remarkable, miraculous healing. It's about the everyday uses and the little things, because we all have the little things. And often when you talk to people, they'll tell you, oh, I'm healthy, there's nothing wrong with me. And, you know, I don't really think I need it, except like I'm out in the canoe and 5 minutes out there today and Hayden stabs his finger on a mussel, you know, as he's trying to get some bait, and there's blood spurting out everywhere. So, you know, there's, stupidly though, my Renew was in my handbag sitting in the house. So he performed some scout maneuver and, you know, compressed it until we could get back home to put the gel on it. But every single person needs this in their home for first aid, for their face. Throw away all that crap skincare that you've got full of toxins and chemicals and just put Redox on your face. It's way better for your skin, your cells, your blood flow, your brain, your sinuses, your eyes, you know, everything that's around that area. Put the Redox on it, on your thyroid, put it on your abdomen for digestion disorders as well. You can't go wrong. Just put it wherever there's a problem. And people that tell me that they don't have a problem are lying, because you just haven't talked to them for long enough and asked the right questions, because really everyone's got a problem. So to complete that, of course, we have to always say that ASEA is not intended to diagnose, cure or treat any medical condition, and we should never use a medical condition or a term name in our discussions with people. That's very, very important. What it's doing is rebooting our cells and improving our cellular functioning, our cellular signaling and our cellular efficiency. So when we're doing that, it cascades through to every system, muscle, tissue and organ in our body. When we just boost that cell to actually do the job that it's supposed to do. So I want to say thank you to Angela. If you're just hearing this tonight for the first time, we have amazing presentations that really go into the science and the of what Redox is, and I encourage you to go back to the person that invited you here to get one of those presentations, or come to one of our live ones that we have happening around Australia and the world. But I'm just going to stop the recording here now and you can ask some questions.